Hello there, Razzle48 here. Welcome to the August 19th, 2016 Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist. I know I'm not really a Yugituber, or I guess that's what they call them. I don't really do coverage on these things, but I really wanted to do one for this banlist, like a reaction sort of video thing, because that's the kind of thing I like to do. Now, unfortunately, for the first time in forever, I did happen to be AFK when this list dropped, and that was the most inconvenient thing that may have ever happened to me in my life, and I skimmed through the list prior to arriving at my house and being able to cover it. So I do know a few of these things, but I did not look at them in detail. It was more like just me skimming through, picking up a few things. I did see this monkey board here, but I would like to just look through the list, maybe discuss it a little bit. I may upload a separate video in the future with me discussing some of these changes in detail with one of my friends, but for now I just want to give you my absolute first impressions on everything in the list. First of all, monkey board is banned. So, I've never really done Yu-Gi-Oh! Coverage like this, so what can I say about Monkey Board? It's a single scale. It's like you play this card, you get both your scales instantaneously. It's a lot like Coolford Scout in that manner, except that Monkey Board is not exclusive to any specific archetype. It is not specific to the Performapal archetype, but you do, like, obviously becomes a scale 4 if you don't have one in your other zone, but it searches out the other one you need for you, and so this card is a universal double scale, and so that is easily understandable why they hit it. Honestly, I personally put a Pepe engine in my Zephyrs very recently to test it and included it. I loved it. It was great. It was broken and now it's gone. Like, I don't have access to that crap anymore, and I'm actually kind of happy about it because now I won't see people pulling this bull crap on me from now on. And so, yeah, overall, I'm quite happy with that hit. Now, let's scroll down a little. I see Stratos is still there. What you doing, Konami? Like, come on. Why is Stratos still effing banned? Like, let's be real. Like, Shadow Mist does everything that Stratos does and better. My 2 cents on the whole why they banned Stratos argument is that they banned Stratos not because of his search power, but because of his back row removal. That like, it works in any hero deck, so it can work with masked heroes and D heroes, which are getting support. Destiny heroes are getting support, as we've seen in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Updates, in the magazines, or whatever it is that reveals the cards, but that's why I feel they banned Stratos. But I genuinely have no idea why that card is still banned. Like, none at all. Like, I don't even think heroes could do much in the metagame right now except what they're already doing, which is just spamming Dark Law to counterpick decks. And Construct is another card that's still banned that I'm wondering, why the heck are you doing this? I want my Shadal engine back in Zephyrs, darn it. I mean, I know I'm talking about this from a Zephyr point of view, but honestly, like, a lot of people agree with me when I say that Shadal's got power creeped out of the meta and got hit anyway with the El Shadal fusion going to 1 and Construct getting banned, which was completely unnecessary because now they're darn near unplayable, I'd say. And I wish Construct had come back because it's just an overall, like, it's a good card for it's a really good card for an archetype that's not doing great at all, and I know that they probably aren't bringing it back because it wasn't that long ago they hit Construct. It was only a couple Banlists ago, but I don't think that they'd give the archetype back its key card that they intentionally hit all that fast, but I wish they would, and I don't think it would do anything. So let's continue scrolling down here. Excited Knight still banned. Good to see. It didn't hit any other XYZ monsters. Kaiser Coliseum. I do distinctly remember seeing this when I glanced over the list from the first time, and that made me do a double take. I was like, what? Kaiser Coliseum? Like, limited. Like, what is that? Why are they doing this? Like, what is the purpose of this? What is even using that right now that justifies this hit? I mean, Rip Boojins, I guess. Boojins is genuinely the only deck that comes up off the top of my head that runs Kaiser Coliseum, and at first I saw this and I'm like, is that Last Will? No, that's been on there a while, but no, I saw Kaiser Coliseum and I'm like, what? Fake list, confirmed. But no, Kaiser Coliseum, like, wow. What's using this card? It's not Blue Eyes, it's not Perform Pals, it's not Burning Abyss, I don't think it's Monarchs. That'd be really stupid. Like, I can't even think of a deck that uses this card, let alone one that uses it so well that they ban it. But hey, you know, Konami does weird. Nobody called that crap. I didn't call that crap. I was actually preparing to do a Banlist prediction video, but then I just saw that I was regurgitating a lot of the same predictions that a lot of the other YouTubers had put forth for the ban list, and so I was like, I just won't do it then. Like before I go any further to this list, I think one of the few things that I said, Harpy's Feather Duster is still here. Like, that's one of the things I said, is that we need a decent back row removal. But, what was I effing gonna say? I was like, I said Solemn Strike is going to get to 2 or 1, which, I don't remember seeing Strike on this list, but I don't remember not seeing it either. So we'll see. I just decided not to do a Banlist prediction video because I didn't want to repeat info you've heard already from people with a better voice than me and who, like, have been covering Yu-Gi-Oh! For longer than me. So those are the Banlist hits. Similar to the previous Banlist where they only hit 2 cards, aside from the 2 cards that were on the adjusted list that they hit. Chicken Game and a Wavering Eyes, which are both still there. This hit list only banned 2 cards, Monkey Board and Kaiser Coliseum. I can't believe Kaiser Coliseum is one of the 2 cards that they banned for this list. Like, that just baffles me. So now we're getting into the cards that you can only use 1 of. That's right. Sir, they hit Burning Abyss. Again, they hit Sir's effing face. You know what that means? That means you can't, like, mill Sir from your deck and have it as a Dante material. I don't know what Burning Abyss are going to do. Like, they're losing a lot of their main deck monster slots. Like, at this point, it's mandatory to run PK Fire and Burning Abyss. It may have been already, because I don't use Burning Abyss. I can't say firsthand, but I personally feel like it was already getting to the point where they, like, needed to use PK Fire. But now you have to. Like, now there's no question. Like, Sir at 1, Graph at 1, unless they change that. Yeah, there he is, Graph right there. So, wow, I mean, darn, Sir is, yeah, they hit another one of their good cards. And I did see Mr. Inther, the Monarch here. This is the light one. I don't really remember what it does. Like, I personally felt like the Dark Mega Monarch was a lot more threatening to the game, because that's the one that, like, returned a thing to the deck, right? That's the one that made you lose your resources. Wasn't the light one that just, like, reduced its level and crap? Like, hold up, let me just confirm this, because I honestly didn't see the light one, like, screwing with me personally that much. So who effing knows? Like, I don't know what these things are called. I genuinely don't. Okay, so if this card is summoned, you could send from the grave and blah blah blah, and special a thing from your deck but return it to. Oh, this is the one where they did the Karaz play and, like, got their primes in the graveyard. So I can kind of see where they were coming from, because this card set up a lot of the decks, like, he plays, you know, like, send something to banish with prime, banish the thing with prime, or you could send, like, a Pantheism, use that effect, get yourself a search, in addition to getting the pluses off Karaz, they will return to your hand at the end of the turn, and I don't like it. So I do like that hit. I'm not entirely sure it was the correct one, but I do like it, and I do applaud them, and I support them for that hit. Cosmo Dark Destroyer. Now, this was a very interesting card. Like, I think we all thought that this card was going to go to 1. But I still think it was a rather interesting hit. Mainly due to the fact of Cosmo's large amount of recycling that they can do. Like, Call of the Haunted, bring back your Dark Destroyer. Freaking Cosmo Town, get back a banished Dark Destroyer. Like, Cosmo, like, freaking Stormtroopers, resurrected Dark Destroyer. I think you can resurrect Dark Destroyer with the darn Stormtroopers. I'm not sure. But the point is that, like, the fact that this card is still here, I mean, granted, you can't do the stupid Dark Destroyer kill itself to get another one thing, which is good, but that was, but they could still do a lot of their big Dark Destroyer plays, and unless I see any more Cosmo hits on this list, then I'm not entirely sure just how much that hurts the deck. I mean, yeah, it hurts a little. It makes them twinge, and it's like, oh, we only have 1 Dark Destroyer. But I'm not entirely sure just how bad of a hit that is. Kieran, This is another questionable hit, because I thought that this card would be banned as heck, because you can only use the effective Kieran once per turn. And so I thought that this card would get banned, because once you get the one, then, like, having more than one doesn't really matter. So I'm like, okay, if they have the Kieran, then they're just going to use its effect, because it says on Kieran you can only use this effective Kieran once per turn. And so I'm like, if they have it, then you're screwed, because you can just recycling the darn thing over and over. And it's still a factor in the game. I mean, I guess there's not many cards that search it in the decks that it's running, like Pei and Odd Eyes and Magicians and generic Pendulum decks, as opposed to Magispectors, which I honestly don't see it that often in at all, ironically enough. But Kieran, I feel like, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, yeah, they'll see it less often, but when they get it, it doesn't really matter if they have, like, more than one. Like, as long as they have the one, they're fine. And so, I'm not entirely sure hitting one. I mean, yeah, like I said, they'll see it less, but that doesn't mean that it's not still a factor and still just as dangerous a factor. But at least they're acknowledging it. That's always good. Scrolling down the list here, see Rescue Rabbit's still limited. That's a darn shame. I don't see Thousand Eyes restrict there. That means the Thousand Eyes got even for Beatrice. Yes, this was a fine thing. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. They didn't hit Dante, but they hit Beatrice? What kind of smoke is Konami cracking? Okay, so since Dante is not at 1 anymore, like, not at 1 anymore, it was never at 1. Since Dante isn't going hit to 1, we aren't going to be seeing a lot of, like, we aren't going to be seeing a lot of the Burning Abyss plays reduced. I can't think right now, man. This list is effing me up. So they only have 1 Beatrice. I mean, yeah, granted they can't make more than 1, but, like, I don't know. Did Extra Deck Monarchs use Beatrice? I think they did, but how often did they go into more than 1? I'm presuming that this is a hit for Burning Abyss, but this is just resetting them back to before they got Beatrice, which was a state where they were good already. The only exception being that they have 1 Sir instead of 2, but that doesn't really matter in the long run. I mean, yeah, no, I take that back. It matters. But this is not nerfing the deck exponentially like what needed to be done. Like, granted, I'm not through the ban list yet. I'm only about halfway, but I mean, darn. I guess, I don't know what to say. I guess I just thought that they'd make the deck unplayable. Maybe that was too much to expect. A lot like they did with Shaddolls, and with decks that have come and gone in the past. I don't know. I don't know what. Oh, what the heck? I genuinely didn't see any of that. But I don't know what the heck this is. I don't know why this was the card that they decided to hit. It's like, yeah, we're gonna hit Burning Abyss nice and hard. Give them 1 Beatrice. I mean, did they forget that just having 3 Dante makes the deck stupid, ridiculous to deal with all on its own? It still has its like turbo OTKs. I mean, granted, it only has 2 cards in the main deck that can special Burning Abyss monsters when they die, but still, like, I don't know. I think I've rambled about this one enough. Let's just move on. Emergency teleport! Why they hit my emergency teleport? My freaking double Ghost Ogre, double E teleport engine is so ruined. I see what they were doing with this. Like, they were trying to hit Cosmos and Super Quantums and stuff that's not my deck. Like, I know this wasn't personal, but I feel like it was. They could have just hit Farm Girl. I know that they wouldn't have hit any of the Super Quantums directly. That's stupid, and I don't blame them for not doing that. That's not something they ever would have done, but really, I don't think they realize just how many decks they're hurting with this hit. Like, I may have to change my whole tuner engine. Like, in my Zephyr. I know I'm speaking about the whole ban list from the point of someone who does not play meta, but I don't know. Like, I did well. Like, in my last tournament, I went 6-0, undefeated, and won. I even beat Blue Eyes in finals with Zephyrs. I think I've been doing rather well, but this isn't about this. This is about E-Teleport. Was this necessary? Like, what's the deal with this? I mean, to prevent Cosmo OTK, you're kind of already doing that by hitting by hitting the frickin' Dark Destroyer. If you wanted to deal with that, then you could have just hit Farm Girl. I thought 2E teleport was just fine. I guess I was wrong. Apparently Konami sees it otherwise. Like, I guess they just do. So, yeah, F me. F anyone who uses that engine. It's considering it's a pretty darn generic engine. Pantheism is at 1. I saw the Pendulum Call there, so I might as well throw that in too. Pendulum Call, they're hitting Pendulum Magicians even more. Like, I think Mega Capital G said it best when he said that we don't see that many people using Pendulum Magicians. I mean, I'll give you that Pendulum Call is an overpowered, broken down piece of bullcrap, but that doesn't mean that it's warranted a ban simply because I don't see that deck run that often. I mean, maybe I'm just out of the loop. Maybe I'm just lucky and don't see those players, but I genuinely don't see that. As for Pantheism, we all saw this coming. I wouldn't have been surprised if this stupid card got banned. But the fact that they made this significantly reduces the I'm sorry, I gotta keep taking swigs of water. I'm talking so much. This significantly reduces the tenacity targets. And considering that they hit the light Mega Monarch, that reduces the number of things that you can reveal for tenacity too. And I think that might have been why they hit the light one. It's because they didn't really want to hit, like, the good monsters of the deck, but they wanted to make it, like, less consistent. And, like, by hitting the less powerful of the two, or at least I think it's the less power of the two, like, some people might disagree with me, but I personally believe to be taking other people's resources a much bigger, better option for a deck that already has access to a third or half of their deck on their first turn, to be much more significant than drawing. And so this was an obvious hit. I'm glad they hit this. I think everyone's glad they hit. I bet you even Monarch players are glad they hit that. Like, real talk, the Monarch Stormforth. This is a great hit. I love this. Like I was gonna say that Domain that they were gonna hit Domain, Pantheism, and Stormforth, and I'm perfectly fine with only having gotten 2 of them right, because, like, Stormforth was such a pain. Like, again, this reduces tenacity targets. They can't reveal 3 Stormforth and get rid of my untargetable Yazi, because that's a load of bullcrap. But what they can do with this is not as much, because they only have 1 now. Like, Monarchs are going to have to find some new tech to fill all these empty holes in their deck. Upstart Goblin's still limited, by the way. LOL. Oh, I didn't see a magical explosion, or life equalizer up here, rather. I really wanted to see that FOTK, like, really, so that people who want to run Upstart can again. I think Chicken Game should still be banned, but whatever. I think Upstart wasn't a necessary hit from all angles. They should have just gone after the stupid cards in that deck. I don't know, maybe Konami is okay with those OTK decks. They just don't want them to be as easy to use. I guess they just maybe want them to, like, use the not as obvious draw card. I don't know. Maybe they're just saying, yeah, you can OTK, but be creative about it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what goes through their heads. No trap changes. Compulse is still at 1, which is stupid, because it's doing Jack and Dick right now. Bottomless Trap Hole is still at 1. I don't see anyone running even 1 of this card. I don't know. Like, I feel it could have gone to 2. Just fine. Warning is still at 1. I don't see Solemn Strike on here, so I'm gonna venture a guess that Solemn Strike got semi-limited. But we'll see. Speaking of limited, Maxi. No one. I don't know anyone who ran more than 2 Maxi. I know that the guy who won Worlds ran 2 main decked in his Blue Eyes, but honestly, I don't. Who runs 3 Maxi? I mean, I would never do such a thing, because I personally would not want to be opening more than 1, because that would be bricks for days. Especially if they choose to not take the Maxi challenge after you drop it. If they choose not to take it, then you have 1 extra 1 in your hand. If you're running 3, that just increases the chances of that bullcrap happening, and even gives you a small chance of opening 3, in which case you just gotta scoop it up. But like, Max, I don't know. I don't feel like any good player would run more than 2 anyway. I don't know. Maybe world finalist is watching this who main deck 3 Maxi and is going to rant on me in the comments. I don't know. Like, if I get any viewers at all on this, because I was gone for most of the night and I'm late on this upload, but I don't know. I feel that, like, this was unnecessary as crap. Thunder King Ryo is at 2. This, like, I know a lot of people were complaining when this card is at 1. All I gotta say about this is, good job, Ryo. Welcome back to the game. I don't know a lot of people who are running it at 1. Maybe people are going to run it now that it's at 2. Wind Up Magician, like, is the Mighty still on this darn ban list? It effing is. I don't know what they're doing with this Wind Up Magician. Maybe they're just teasing people. It's like, yeah, you can have 2 of this Magician, but who gives a crap because there's the Mighty's not there. I mean, darn. So that's that. All right. And that is it for the semi-limit. There was no Solemn Strike on there whatsoever. Now, for the Unlimits, we got Thousand Eyes Restricted 3. That's perfectly fine because Metamorphosis does not exist. And nobody is going to Instant Fusion more than 1,000 Eyes Restrict. Who gives half a crap? Allure of Darkness is at 3. Now, I don't know about this. A lot of people were freaking out when they saw this at 2. I don't know about this. Like now you're giving Burning Abyss, like, the chance to recover from some of these, I almost want to say, insignificant hits in the long run, because you're giving them so much darn draw power. And, like, Gold Sarcophagus hasn't done a thing in an eternity and a half, so who gives a crap? But holy moly donuts. Okay, so that's the list. There was no Solemn Strike on here. I gotta say I'm kind of disappointed by that. The fact that there's no Solemn Strike. I don't know, especially with ABCs coming out. They're going to be running traps coming out their anus. And I really am not looking forward to a frickin' Union-equipped, frickin' Union machine number A, B, or C with a butt F of attack points and them setting 4 back row turn 1. That's not going to be a pleasant experience. And I understand that they're hitting the cards that are affecting the meta as of now, and I honestly never did think that Solemn Strike was a very defining card like Warning was and Judgment was back in their day when that was very significant, but I did think it would at least go to 2. So that was a mouthful. That was my personal opinions. I know I'm a little late, and I do know that I looked at the ban list beforehand, skimmed through it a little. I'm just as disappointed as you are, I promise. Like, I wish my reactions were genuine. I wish I had gotten them on video. That was the whole point of me refreshing the list, like, every 30 seconds a day for, like, the past few days. I'm not even kidding, but I think they did a lot of good things here. Like, looking over the list as a whole, they hit Monkey Board, even though, like, Pepe isn't doing all that great. But they hit a very OP card for a lot of decks. Like, I gotta take that engine out of Zephyrs now, and probably the Ghost Ogre one now that he teleports at 1. I don't know why they did this crap, but I'm laughing at it, so I guess that's a good thing. Like, they hit Burning Abyss a little bit, so I guess you could say, hey! They hit Burning Abyss. And they hit Monarchs a butt ton. I think how many other cards did I see on here? 3? Stormforth, Pantheism, the Light Chick, and freaking, I don't know. I swear there was something else. Yeah, but just 3 of their cards is a lot of hits. That's essentially 6 slots in their deck that they're going to have to replace with cards that are not as good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It still gets my panties in a bunch that Domain's at 3, but I guess that's just a personal problem of me for running an extra deck focused deck. And they did address Kieran, even though I don't think this will fix the problem. And they did hit freaking Cosmos, even though I don't think that this will fix their problem either. Like, only 1 Dark Destroyer. I mean, yeah, that hurts. Maybe it's because they want them to see it less. Like, I guess that's true, because Cosmos aren't really searchable. I mean, granted, the freaking Cosmo Town gives them, like, a magical mallet, basically, but I don't know, man. It's like, I just don't know. I mean, I know y'all probably playing the drinking game by how many times I've been saying, I don't know, man, but that's how I feel. That's genuinely how I feel. They hit Pendulum Call, rip Pendulum Magicians. I'm not like, Wisdom Eye was already hit, but they freaking hit They did some things with generic side deck cards, Thunder King and Maxi. I don't know what this was for. Like, I think that was just a big middle finger to anyone and everyone who was waiting for Zenmighty to come off the list. And speaking of which, I think at this point they're just keeping this here as a joke. I don't know. I also kind of thought that Chaos Emperor Dragon may have come off because of the errata and because we saw it in the Yugi versus Kaiba duel at Worlds. But like this, I don't know how to feel about this. We'll have to see where this goes. But these two really don't matter. And those are my thoughts on the list. So I'll shut up now. Thank you all for watching. And let's all try to have an enjoyable format. So for now, this is Razzle48 saying goodbye, and I'll see you next time.